Let's start.
Hello, I'm Sean Genovese. Welcome back to Distracted Driving
Podcast.
Thank you. Yes, the Distracted Driving Podcast. We're going to make sure we introduce ourselves this time. I gave my name.
Okay, I'm Rex Williams.
Always have to wait for it there.
You have to wait for it.
And yes, we are. This is the Distracted Driving Podcast, available at distracteddrivingpodcast.com.
And video.
Available.
Do we tell the listeners that we're on video too?
You know what? Let's take a moment for station identification here, and let's just get that out of the way, shall we? So truth be told, we're used to doing a video podcast, and we talked a little bit about that on our last show. This one is available via video, so you can go to the YouTube and search for Distracted Driving. You can also get it through the website. We put the video on the web. But we also syndicate it as audio only, as a true podcast.
We're trying new things.
Available almost everywhere that podcasts are given away for free.
Yes.
We're working on all the syndication, but I think we're on Google now. We're on Apple. We're on iHeartRadio, Spotify, and a couple of others and more to come.
Yeah. Cool.
So, all right, we're back for episode 2. Last time we talked about rules and policies and procedures, oh my, and the unintended consequence of those rules and policies being that it robs people of autonomy, or it can.
In a large corporation.
Well, I mean, even in a small one, but yeah, that's right. We were talking about how as organizations get larger, it's a necessary evil. You have to have process. You don't want to rely solely on Rex to get something done, because Rex is going to leave one day. That's right. Or it's at the whim of how Rex wants to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But all those policies and processes, sometimes they get in the way, which brings us actually to a story we're going to tell today.
Oh, story time.
Story time. So
okay.
I was talking to a buddy of mine last weekend that happens to work for a large government organization. He works for DHS. I won't tell you what branch, and I won't tell you his name.
Okay.
But we were having a conversation. Actually, we were having a conversation about bad bosses, and that led into kind of a discussion about bureaucracy. And he brought up and reminded me of the cave allegory from Plato. And so
Plato, the
philosopher.
The philosopher.
Not the gooey stuff that children play with.
Yeah. Wow, we're going way back.
Way back. If anybody needs a primer on Plato and Socrates, they can watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh yeah, that's very accurate description.
Good history lesson there.
Or Steve Martin's. It's the greatest. Yeah, Socrates clip. I think it's on YouTube.
Socrates. I think they called him Socrates.
Yeah, but
Bill and Ted.
You drank the hemlock. Yeah, so hemlock is poisonous. Since when?
Well, you did a good Steve Martin. Those of you that are only listening and didn't have a chance to see that, he had the mannerisms down and everything.
I've seen that episode so many times.
Now everybody knows how old we are, because
Steve
80s,
Martin.
90s.
When he was big. Yeah, no, it was a great episode. We didn't have a link to that. We come in here, we sit around, and I was the only one that said anything. Nobody ever said. We tag Socrates, what is truth? Socrates, what is justice? Socrates, what is the purpose of life? Not once did anyone say, Socrates, hemlock is poisonous. Oh my gosh, I'm going to quote that whole thing, but let's not do that.
So we'll try to work in a metaphor with the hemlock here if we can.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you were saying Plato?
So let's see. And Plato Plato was, which one was the master and which one was the student? Plato was the student of Socrates, right? Or do I have that backwards?
I think it was Plato first, although.
Well, at any rate, Greek philosophers.
Right.
So the cave allegory. So the cave allegory goes like this. There's a group of prisoners that are chained inside a cave against a wall, and they're unable to turn their heads, so they can't turn around to see what's behind them. Behind them, and unseen to them, are men who are moving shapes in front of a fire and making sounds. And so they're basically projecting silhouettes of objects onto the cave wall in front of the prisoners. And that's all that these prisoners have ever known. That was their reality, is these silhouettes in a dark cave on a wall.
Sad,
right?
Life. Yeah.
So one day, one of the prisoners is set free. He turns around, he sees the fire, and he's told that the shadows were all just an illusion. And then they drag him out of the cave outside. He is initially blinded because he's never seen the sun before. And then as soon as his eyes adjust, he sees the real world and realizes a new reality. He's actually seeing trees instead of silhouettes. He goes back into the cave. But when he goes back into the cave, now he's not used to the darkness. And so he's essentially blind for a little while, and he's fumbling around. And the other prisoners are making fun of him because they think he's gone completely mad because he can't see. They're wondering, they're asking him, why'd you even leave the cave? That was a stupid idea. And he's trying to explain to them the outside, and they threaten to kill him if he tries to make them leave the cave because they think he is now just crazy.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much where the story ends.
Yeah.
So why my friend and I were talking about that, I don't know. No, we were talking about...
and Plato was a student of Socrates.
Plato was a student of Socrates. So Socrates, and then Plato was his student. Okay, very good. But basically, so it's a story. There's a lot of levels to this. There's been movies, a lot of movies made that kind of are a play on this theme. But the journey from ignorance...
Truman Show?
To enlightenment. Yeah, the Truman Show. All Truman's ever known was that made up reality. But we were talking about this in the context of bureaucracy and people that you can either hide behind the bureaucracy, kind of like those other prisoners, right? No, this is the reality we like. These are the policies and procedures that we have. This is how it's going to be. Or you can use the bureaucracy to your advantage, which is what we talked a little bit about last time. And now you're the guy that escapes, the prisoner that goes outside. But the challenge for that person is to convince those other prisoners not to kill you.
To explain how amazing the outside world is, right?
Yeah.
Like to say, there's trees and they have color, not just black and white. There's 3D, right? I mean,
and to somebody who's barely only ever seen 2D, 3D is a crazy concept.
Mm-hmm. Do you understand 4D? No.
I'm still trying to understand 5Ds.
It's
never mind the Ds.
It's thither and yon. You go through, not up, down, left, right. It's through. I saw a presentation on it.
So, on the heels of this conversation over the weekend, and we were talking about this a little bit, I thought maybe this would be good to share to really help people understand, including us, what this show is about. Because people, all of us...
It's not about cars.
It's not about,
it's not
about cars.
Or the thing that the title might suggest in the car. No one said anything about cars.
Nobody said anything about cars.
Just because we might have a little.
But we did say something about driving and driving change, and people feel stuck sometimes in And it doesn't have to be a large company. It's just more prevalent there. But, you feel stuck inside of a bureaucracy. Ever been to the DMV? Um,
Last time I was
and
there, it was the most efficient thing ever. It was amazing.
actually, same. I had a great experience. And what enables, though, that experience is people that are change agents that are able to drive change, and then people that are willing to accept that change and adopt it. So that's what this show is, I think,
about
endeavoring.
So driving,
to be about.
Some other definition of driving towards something, your goal, accomplishment, something you want. I don't know. Happiness. I don't know. What driving?
Well, we want
and
people
then
to
we
know.
get distracted.
Right. And so actually there's two pieces. One is we want people to know that they have more freedom than they think. Even if you're in one of these bureaucracies and you think you don't have any power, to some extent that might be true.
Of course.
But you have more freedom and you have more power than you think. Maybe it's going to take a little bit more effort because you have to understand what the rules are.
Yeah. And so we've experienced it, and I don't know. That's why we think we know something.
Both of us, our job roles involve change and improvement and continuous improvement in various ways, and we'll get to some of that as we get through more episodes. But our goal is to have guests on that can speak to us and with us and tell stories related to how do you get freedom? How do you get freedom in spite of bureaucracy?
Mm-hmm.
How do you make sure that those prisoners don't kill you?
Yeah.
You come back into the cave.
And it's interesting because a lot of people, what they're doing is they're seeking freedom outside the company, and they're leaving the company, which is fine. People need to try new things and totally different world and whatnot. But then they might see something like the amazing outside of the cave, and then come back. Or the outside wasn't as amazing as they thought, and so they come back in. It's just there's just more opportunity even within your environment, I think, to make a difference if you know how to do it. So
today I have you can't see this if you're just listening, but I'll hold it up in case you're on the video version.
Oh, there you go.
My I am they mug.
I am they.
This is not a statement on any anything other than there's no cavalry coming. You have the power. You have the freedom. And
we always talk about they should do this.
That's right. I've told this story before to a bunch of people, but I worked somewhere one time where we had a water cooler in the room, and a colleague came up to get water, noticed it was empty, and said, "Hey, do you know when they come and replace the water?" And kind of looked at him and said, "There's no they. There's a bunch of new water jugs right outside the door. Just you got to go get one and bring it in and swap the jug out."
What?
Yeah, there's no they.
Do that.
You are they. I am they. Okay.
That's funny because that happened in my company, where it's like, who's gonna come empty my garbage at my desk? Like, nope, you gotta empty your own garbage. Like, what? The craziness.
The humanity
of it all. Yeah, the insensitive. How can I do this? Yeah, no, we had to take our own garbage out.
Going back to your kids or something, or when you were a kid, you got to clean your own room. Nobody's going to do it for you. So that we want each episode to hopefully have a takeaway. Hopefully some people have learned some things today with the cave allegory. And I am they.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That reminds me of taking out the garbage and doing your own thing. of a great book called The Dog Poop Initiative. Remember that one?
Do I remember that one? No, I don't remember that one.
You didn't have that one? Oh yeah, we got like permission from the author. We were presenting it at our company quite a bit. Yeah. No, it's a kid's book kind of. It is. Big pictures and a story, like a true story about a father and a son at a soccer game. And and he arrives to the soccer field, and there's this big large dog poop, and everyone's like, yeah, you gotta watch out for the dog poop. Just run around it, but make sure you don't step in it. So like, I guess throughout the day, people have been dodging it. Kids have been playing on the field, but like, whoa, look out. And it's really funny written, like a poem, and it's fun. But then he's like, well, why don't we just clean it up? So, yeah. So anyways, that's
not to be the one up guy. But I got one more, and then we'll go. When I was in college, I had two roommates, both computer science students.
Mm-hmm.
And one morning I wake up. I was the last one to wake up. I had a late class that day. I wake up and there's a candle burning in the bathroom. That's kind of weird.
So why?
I flip. Well, right? Yeah. It was scented. It was scented.
Okay.
But it wasn't something. It wasn't something that we normally had in there.
Oh,
Certainly wasn't something that we normally had burning.
It's a new initiative.
New initiative. So I thought, oh, that's weird. And so then I'm getting ready to take a shower, and so I go to flip the light on. Nothing happens. All right, so now I'm putting some pieces together in my head, right? And I'm like, okay. Well, I find out later. First of all, I look up and I'm like, okay, the light bulb must be out.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So I went in the closet. We had more light bulbs, and I changed the light bulb, took a shower, went to school. I come home later that day and asked my roommates, hey, so what was going on with the candle? And this is a true story. This sounds like I made it up, right?
No,
this is like a man walks into a bar. This is a true story. The first roommate says, oh yeah, when I went to take a shower, the light wouldn't work, so I just took a shower in the dark.
Okay. Still works. Water still works. Soap.
So the second roommate, he goes, oh yeah, well, I got to the shower and realized the light wasn't on, so I went and lit a candle.
Genius.
And the third roommate, me, the engineer, I go, well, I went to go take a shower and the light didn't go on, so I changed the light bulb.
I saw the candle and I thought, there's a better solution. That's awesome. So it wasn't about the aroma in there.
It was not about the aroma.
It was actually about light.
And
and he didn't blow it out. He just left it for you so that you could see when you got.
Look, that was very kind.
Dangerous.
A note might have been good too, just to really, put my mind at ease about why the candle was burning in the bathroom.
Well, I guess he figured he'd find out eventually.
And so I don't know what their plan was. I guess maybe the next step is they were going to call the office and tell them we had a busted light.
Our candle's burning out. We need another candle.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And that's a silly example, but I've told that story a lot to audiences where it's this, right? It's the I am they.
Mm-hmm.
Don't there's no maintenance guy coming.
No one's coming to save you. Yeah.
And I mean, good on roommate number 2 for finding a solution.
Sounds more complicated.
Even if it was the suboptimal solution.
Yeah.
It didn't solve the root cause.
Yeah.
But
which probably can relate to our first episodes here, which may be suboptimal.
Right.
But we're doing it. We're lighting the candle. It's dark
Thankfully,
in here.
Nobody's ever going to listen to these.
Yeah, right.
They're not very good. Trust us, though, if you are listening, they get better.
They will. They will get better.
We're going to get a guest on next time. And so that should help.
Okay. That should help. If we let someone else do it, they can talk and we'll just Grill them. Yeah, no, it'll be fun.
Yeah, in the meantime, hopefully we've reminded you or taught you something new with Plato. We've regaled you with an interesting story and
distracted you from whenever
remember,
you were driving before you listened.
No cavalry coming, so don't get distracted. Driving change.
You can do it.
You can do it. Share this with a friend.
Listen to the podcast. You like future episodes we'll get into more details about how to maneuver around,
how to navigate, how to drive around obstacles.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't want to overdo it with the metaphor, but
okay,
it is there. It's there.
Okay.
All right. I think that's enough.
We gotta
see everybody next
sign off. What's the sign off?
Sign off. The sign off is I'm Sean Genovese.
I'm Rex Williams.
This is the Distracted
Don't
Driving
get distracted.
Podcast.
Oh, I thought it was. Don't get distracted.
We're gonna keep working on that.
We're working on it.